good team of people. And this is the most important one in actual fact, despite what I've said about the business planning. If you've got a good team of people, you can turn a bad business plan or a weak business plan and a weak product around. It's always going to be the case. I don't like using football analogies, but if Alex Ferguson walked into York City, the chances are he'd be able to make them play a hell of a lot better and bring in some really good players that would make York City look the business. But if you took the York City manager to Manchester United, you might go on a bit of a downer for a bit. And it's a similar sort of thing. You walk in with a very strong team and an okay numbers 1 and number 2, and you'll be welcomed. You'll be tolerated anyway. If you go in with a good, strong plan and financials and product and a iffy sort of team, you won't get the time of day. There'll be that familiar laughing sound again as the door opens and you walk out. Ask yourself, of the team that comes together, you have somebody who can do marketing, finance, and operations. That is what I call my holy trinity. It's really important, this, because if you've got those 3 skill sets in the business, everything else gels, everything comes together. You can do the day-to-day stuff, you can do the production, the manufacturing, the day-to-day management, you can promote the business, and you can control the finances on it. That's what the investors is looking for. That is really important. And that's what business angels do. They come in and they fill the gaps. Now, I know most people can do one of those 3. Some people can do 2 of them. Only liars and people who walk on water can do all 3. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. So, find out what the skills are, and you go and find the people to plug the gaps. And if you're going to an investor and say, look, we know that we're thin here, and we're looking for someone, and this is why we come to you, because you can actually provide that, that gives them an input into the way the business is run, as well as putting the money in. And that is really important. That's why people like Peter Jones on the Dragon's Den and Duncan Banton are really good at doing things like this, because they've got fantastic experience. They can come and turn businesses around. Okay, ask yourself, what's unique about what you have? And again, these are questions that you have to really know. This is the so what. There was a famous comedian way back in the 60s and 70s called Bob Newhart. There's a lot of his tracks on YouTube. He's brilliant. Might just me who needs to get out more, but he's really funny. And he did a lot of these stories on radio. And one of them was about Sir Francis Raleigh. Sorry, start that again. Sir Francis Drake and his contemporaries going across to the States, going across to America as it was then, finding out about potatoes and tobacco, and bringing back to the palace. And the story went something like, you found what? Walt Ryder said, tobacco. He said, you do what with it, Walt? You roll it up in a leaf and stick it in your mouth and set fire to it? Now hold that thought, because you do what with it is what is important here. You might have a great product, you might have a great service, you do what with it? Why is that important to me? Why should I come to you for that? What is it that makes it good? So you need to be aware of that. How much will it cost to make and buy? Very important. And include your own time in that as well, because that is so important. Number of plans I've seen from people who say, no, it doesn't matter about my time, because I'm in the business, it doesn't matter. in that case, come and work for me and I won't pay you. Can't do that. You need to cost your time into the whole case, so that people will sit up and take notice of it. How will people know about it and where can they buy it from? That's where your effective marketing comes in. People need to understand what it is. The majority of the majority of exciting products that have failed are legion because they didn't have effective marketing. On the other side of the coin, the number of pretty crappy products that have been successful because they've had great marketing are in equal numbers. If you've got effective marketing, then that's great. And it might be that you say to somebody, look, we need £50,000 because we need to get a really good marketing strategy together and a good marketing person in place so that they can do this for us. Who owns the IP? Intellectual property, patents, designs, this sort of thing. If you watch the Dragon's Den, one of the first questions that is always asked, usually by Peter Jones, is, do you own the IP? If you don't own the IP, make sure that the person who does own it is with you. Because that is the only way that people will invest in you if it's a product that or a service that you're trying to sell. Because if you've pinched it from somebody else, the idea, and you don't own the IP, this is criminal. Literally. It's criminal. So you need to be aware that they will ask questions like this. You need to be able to prove it. If you can't, make sure you find out who's got it and that they are happy to be with you to do it. IP is a pretty subjective thing. The only thing it proves is that you're the owner at the time. And that's what you're investing in. You're investing in the person of that business. And it's the confidence that that person gives the investor that makes that transaction possible.